So you're thinking about studying in Germany. That's fantastic.
Great ambition.
Well, let's be real. That student visa process, it can feel a bit like navigating a maze, right?
Definitely.
Confusing.
You just want to know the essential steps, get the key info without drowning in paperwork details.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing today.
We've been looking at excerpts from the German Student Visa Guide.
And our mission, really, is just to pull out the absolute must-know stages, the core things you need to do to get that visa.
Think of it like the express lane to understanding the main parts of the application.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's dig in. The guide seems to start things off way before you're even thinking about flights.
Yeah, the groundwork first.
Right. The very first essential step is ticking off those basic requirements, like a valid passport, obviously.
Yeah, that stuff.
And that acceptance letter from a recognized German university, that's your golden ticket.
Can't start without it.
And crucially, showing you've actually got the money to live there. Financial proof. Yes, that's a big one. The guide probably goes into specifics, like the exact amount and how you need to prove it, often that blocked bank account.
Right, the Sparkonto. Lots of people stumble over that detail early on.
It's really interesting how the guide emphasizes these foundations, like no uni acceptance, no proof of funds.
And you're basically stopped before you start.
Exactly. It's all about building that solid base for your application first.
Makes total sense. So, okay, nail those prerequisites. Then what? The guide moves on to step 2, right? Gathering the documents.
The paperwork stage.
And it sounds like it's more than just your university letter. It's described almost like a treasure trove of paperwork.
Yeah, it could feel like that.
Things like academic transcripts, maybe degree certificates, proof you can actually speak the language needed for your course.
Right, and potentially other things depending on, what you're studying.
Does the guide mention if these need to be officially translated or notarized? That seems important.
I imagine the guide really highlights being meticulous here. Accuracy, completeness, it's key.
Because missing documents or, one's not in the right format?
Oh, that can throw a major wrench in the works. Cause real delays. Big ones sometimes.
Absolutely. Sounds like the message is, leave no stone unturned when you're prepping that file.
You got it.
So once you've conquered that mountain of paperwork, the next critical stage, according to our source, is the actual visa application.
Right. Submitting everything.
Which usually means booking an appointment at the German embassy or consulate in your home country.
Yeah, and thinking bigger picture, that appointment is where it all sort of lands officially.
Makes sense.
The guide almost certainly stresses booking that well in advance. Appointment slots can vanish really quickly.
Okay, so proactive planning is essential there.
Definitely.
Not a show up and hope kind of deal.
Not at all.
So after you've submitted everything, then comes the waiting game. The guide talks about the visa processing period.
Yes, the waiting.
Which can take a while, apparently. The guide probably advises just being patient.
Yeah, I bet the guide manages expectations there. Reminds you processing times are, generally out of your control.
Frustrating, but good to know.
And it probably loops back to why getting those earlier steps perfect is so important, avoiding extra delays.
Okay, good point. So, the final piece. The last essential step the guide lays out. It isn't just getting the visa approved.
No, there's one more thing.
It's getting the visa, then arriving in Germany, and then you have to register your address locally with the authorities there.
That's such a crucial point, often overlooked.
So that visa sticker in your passport isn't quite the finish line?
Not quite. The guide really underscores that getting the visa is just part of the journey. That registration, the Anmeldung, it's a legal requirement in Germany. You need it for your stay.
Right. Okay, so let's quickly recap the guide's roadmap then. First, nail the core requirements. Acceptance, finances.
The foundation.
Second, meticulously gather all those documents, get everything right.
Don't skimp on the details.
Third, book that embassy or consulate appointment early and actually apply.
That it's submitted.
Fourth, mentally prepare for the waiting period. Patience.
Deep breaths.
And finally, fifth, once you arrive, register your address in Germany. Don't forget that step.
Exactly. It's a clear, structured path laid out by the guide.
Helps make something that feels overwhelming a bit more manageable, maybe.
I think so. Focusing on these key stages gives you clarity, maybe a bit more confidence.
So the big takeaway here for you listening, This guide offers a pretty direct, no-nonsense look at the German student visa process.
Yeah. It's about knowing the crucial milestones and just preparing methodically.
It reminds us that while everyone's situation might have, slight differences,
Sure.
these basic steps are the foundation for pretty much every successful application.
Well said. That's the core of it.
So thinking about this structured process the guide outlines, it makes you wonder, even with clear steps laid out like this, what are the most common hurdles? The things people still stumble over.
It's a good question.
Something to maybe think about as you plan your own German adventure.